Alright, so I decided today to go ahead and get started on this 305, man. Just tear down of this top side, the top end part of it. The reason being is because the 305, the 601 cylinder heads that I had ordered, I found them on eBay for $100, so I couldn't miss. Why not? Should help in the performance gain I'm trying to do with this engine. Now again, the reason I'm building out this 305 is because I've done the numbers. And looking at the numbers, it shows that if I decide to go with the 305, the max I probably can pull out of this engine is about 375 naturally aspirated. Now, or roughly 365. Now, based off of camshaft that Richard, you know, the good guy online, be showing y'all his good stuff online. He had a 305 do 380 something, and on horsepower and 360 on torque. You know, so we're gonna go with a camshaft around that type of lift and performance, which I think may be a little too much for this 305, which I was thinking a little less, but why not? If his numbers are showing that, I decided to get some better hit, just a little better heads, put them up a little bit, and then we're gonna pretty much put them on her with a new cam. And then that same cam I'm gonna install into the 305 or into the 350. Alright, so pretty much not to take too much more time talking about it, I'm just gonna jump in this real quick. You can just watch me tear this down. Most of this stuff is online already about how to tear it down. I may speed through this process real quick, but the main thing is just to get the cylinder heads off, just so we can start cleaning up. And this is just going to be a part one of this build. So when the next cylinder heads come in tomorrow, I can start working with those. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I was doing was I was spraying some WD-40 all over the engine. You know, now you just do this. If you got PB blaster, it's good too. But I like to use WD-40 because it doesn't smell so bad. For the most part, once you got enough WD-40 all over the engine, you know, it let it soak for a little bit, seep in, and then you're good to go with turning the engine down. Now the first thing I like to start with is the intake. Of course, for most people, you have to start with the intake. But anything you see extra, like little components, like I said, you want to go ahead and take them off anyway, get them out of the way, so you have better access to the bolts you're trying to get to. So I'm just going to start with taking these little engine holders out right here, and then we're going to proceed with taking the rest of the intake out. So these are basically just engine hold downs. All engines will have these at the top right here on the corner of the diagonal. It makes it easier for you to take the engine off. So this one on this vehicle now, the 350 don't have these. I've been using a plate to take in and out. But I may put these on there because I like using these better, and they seem to make the engine at a better angle. They can make it at a better angle. So normally there's two right there, and there's one in the back corner back here too. Again, this that second one, it's kind of hidden inside of this right here. You'll see it's kind of hidden, but if you get an engine hoist, you can hook onto these two on top of the intake manifold, and that's most of the time how you can pull engines out of vehicles. Now I'm just going to go around and hit the rest of these intake bolts, and then we should be able to pull this intake right on out of here. If this bolt has been giving some problems, then you probably wouldn't want to put a little more WD-40 on there, or get an R tool or something that's going to turn it a little more. So this is the last one I kind of knew. It's going to come off with this right here. Alright, most part that should pretty much do it on this intake. And now, if it's been stuck on, you want to get a crowbar or something and try to get on these little ear tips right here on the end and get off in there and just get a little wiggle or tickle on there, and that'll be able to get that right on off of there. If I can see myself, if I can see like a... And then, I mean, if you try to come straight up, they have some extra RTV at the back there. So you want to try to come straight up and keep as much debris and dirt off of there. Yeah, I always like to just break a few of them free. Go in and damage the engine, or damage threads and things. If you got both that's been on and been a little rusted, they be hard to come off sometimes and give you error or give you troubles. Most part, we're just gonna pop these off real quick. And I'm gonna quit talking and get to work. And I'll get back with y'all here in a second. Now some say you should do these in a pattern, even when you're taking them off. But like I said, I'm not too concerned about it with this engine. Like I said, let me come back to that one. The most part, that one was pretty loose already right there. So it makes you wonder. I'm not gonna say this engine was running pretty good as far as I know. I wasn't showing any bad signs, and the thing with it not working or running smooth when I was trying to turn it over. And the previous owner told me it was already running good. So, well, I bought it from a dealership. So I figured, you know, they wouldn't have took in a bad vehicle. They just let it sit longer than they had intended for it to sit. Now I'm probably gonna reuse, I'm not gonna reuse this intake. Let me get a wobble head on that. Sometimes these bolts be a little rusted and stripped out, and it's just difficult to get to. Which one you giving me the problem? So now that I got this, I'm gonna go ahead and break them loose a little bit more, and I get a tool on there. And it's enough WD-40 on top of here and stuff where I probably have to do any more spraying. But if you want to go ahead and spray a little more in there now, that would be a good time to go ahead. There's other little components up top here that you really don't have to take them off. That's just the intake, and you can kind of see on the inside of it that it is the roller, because it has the plate inside of here with the 3 bolts, and then the different style lifters inside of there makes this a roller block. Alright, so it looks a little dirty, so for the most part, that's just the intake. Ben took off right there and we're about at 13 minutes, so I'm gonna keep rocking here. I'm gonna go ahead and pop these spark plugs out of here, and you see how some of this WD-40 is starting to come right in the galley here. That's why I like to do that, because that's where a lot of these boats be dirty in there, and that debris that was in there where I showed earlier, it'd have been difficult to get to them boats. Now that's gonna be cleaned up, and it should be easier to get that boat out. So let me go ahead and take these spark plugs out, and then we'll get started on taking the rest of this engine out. Oh yes, I mean these are pretty bad. They had been, like I said, these out of, there's no white anywhere on there, no anything. Trash. Yeah, what was else to be expected? And looking into this engine galley, these water jackets look a little dirty. All this look a little dirtier than I was expecting, based off of how good the top of it looks. The inside don't look. It look a little sludgy and a little different. So I mean, I'm still not too concerned. I more want to see the lifters. When the lifters get out, that first guy, and then of course see the bore of the engine to see if the bores are good. Alright, so let me go to this other side real quick, and then we'll continue on with the video. So y'all, them pretty bad right there. I don't need even trying to figure out. I'm just more concerned now how the piston is looking. I mean, you expect a lot of carbon build up. That's not going to be too unexpected there on carbon build up. Let's see something. Just taking a look at things. All right, so after that, next we can go ahead and take the start breaking the rocker arms loose. Let me go ahead and take this other exhaust manifold off over here too. I've already took this side off here a long time ago, but I have to take this side off because the bolts are so rusted. And if you can kind of look, now I'm gonna take out this dipstick first, and it's normally just one bolt to hold in dipsticks. It should be a 14 millimeter, I believe. It is. It's a 14 millimeter right there. Take that dipstick out. So I'm not gonna. I doubt I'm gonna keep this bolt maybe. It depends on what's needed with the next setup. Now these dipsticks sometimes get ignorant. Get it off of this bolt. This was a whole different style. So once you get off that bolt right there, you should be able to kind of wiggle it and pull it on out. And there you go. Where's your dipstick? Right. Simple dipstick. Yes. And different things happen. It has allowed me to kind of mess around with it a little bit. So as I can mess around with it a little bit, I decided to go ahead and build it up a little bit. And that way at least it got some type of punch. You know, be sitting around with nothing. Oh, that was, well, these hairs are coming off in a minute. That gasket was pretty much inside of the jacket there. Don't worry about that. And there should be one more right here. Once I break them off, see how that's giving y'all that extra noise as it turns. Not still in there. Just wants to be hard-headed, like they be sometimes. Then, like I said, I know I just had that crowbar 2 minutes ago. And like as y'all know, when you get to working in garages and stuff goes missing. Alright, so here we go. Well, there's gotta be still one on there for that. They're that tight. If they put some gaskets in, see, they got the different bolts on here on these Chevys. What that is? What's going on with you? Oh, there is a bolt right there. So they did this with me last time. They got these double little bolts that'll cover up. One bolt will lock this on, and then it'll be a bolt behind there. There she go. Alrighty, so this is just a basic stock manifold right here. Not too much anything to have to worry about. It's too fancy. It's all dripping. Most part, I'm gonna put this over to the side out of here, and then we're gonna come back and take off the cylinder heads. Alright, so today, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take off the cylinder heads. Right, so the other ones have come in, or are supposed to come in today. So not to slow down the process, I'm just going to go ahead and take these old ones off. Now, I'm not going to keep up with the order of the rocker arms or push rods, because we're going to replace those. You know, so if you're going to rebuild this engine and you don't have new parts coming in, or you're going to reuse some of the same stuff, then you will want to keep up with which ones you're taking off from which cylinder to be able to put back in the exact same order. Now, like again, we're not going to reuse the cylinder head now at this point. We originally was going to do that, but since the other ones, I got some different ones coming. Now, I'll explain later why we're going with those. Is basically because we're going to try to maximize this 305, right? So, but in order to maximize the 305 at the same time and gain to 350 or 383, where we're going to go with, we're going to push the camshaft just a little bit, you know. But so I got some better heads coming, and we basically want to get about 350 out of this engine. And these heads just will not allow that to be done. But the ones without having to do some extra porting and trying to go crazy and beyond. So the ones that are coming, they're going to allow me to be able to just kind of clean them up a little bit, port them a little bit, put them on there, add a new camshaft, and then it should be able to get to the 350. 325, 340 area there, so with torque and horsepower, and be able to be a fun thrill until we get the 350 out. And then that camshaft that we put in here, we're going to take out and put into the 350, it'll be better designed for that one. So anyway, enough talking on all that. Let's let me go ahead and take this stuff off right here, man. I'm just like I said, I'm just taking out these rockers. I'm gonna keep up with each, extra rockers. But like again, when the extra heads get here, I'll be able to see what we're gonna keep and use and not use, you know. And then so this right here is just basic intake gaskets. I might clean these up. I doubt they don't look too terrible, to be honest with you. I normally don't reuse stuff like this, but again, we're trying to save on this. Is not going to be an engine that we're building to, go out and do things with. It's just kind of like a test hit, is to see what the 305 sitting in my garage can do. So I'm gonna put these down over here to the side, and then I'm first just gonna pop out the rocker arms, and then yeah, we'll proceed from there. We gotta check. All right, so once you get the rocker arm nuts off, you kind of could just take each one of them off, and then kind of, like I said, if you were going to keep up with each one, I would kind of replace everything. I would keep everything with everything, right? So this one with this one, and I'm still going to keep up with them to an extent, but not to back for this exact cylinder head. All right, so now once you have all them out, again, like I say, if you were going to reuse the push rods, you will want to keep up with these, and you can see how these connect in to the engine here. I'll show. Basically the push rod, it connects down right into there, right on the lifter. So as hits the rocker, and makes the rocker do this on and open, and as that open and closes, right, the ports, the intake comes in, opens, and then the exhaust, it comes out. And that's how your combustion chamber will start to create and do power. So the more you can maximize that, understanding how to get more gas in, more air in, all while the impact of the engine and solid and cylinder head right here is creating this power. The more you can maximize that intake and that charge, then the more power you have within your engine. All right, so most part, I'm gonna pull these push rods out, and again, I'm not keeping up with these push rods because we're not reusing them. Now, I may keep them, just you keep stuff like this just because, man, when you're building engines and working on cars, you never know when you'll actually need another push rod. I guess I should really, uh, be more concerned about the lifters, because I hadn't even thought about if I was going to buy some new lifters or not, to be honest. I figured these lifters are going to be the same, but I know for a fact we're not reusing these, All right, so more part now, you can take the springs off now, but the valves would fall into the cylinder head, so if you're ever doing this while it's in the engine, it's you normally put, you know, compressed air inside of the engine bay, and it'll push the valves back up, and that's how you change springs while it's inside of a vehicle, you know. But I personally, I don't like changing them inside vehicles. It's too difficult sometimes. I like to just take the head off if I can, a little extra work, but you, like I say, you get better access to what you're trying to do. All right, Mopar, let's just go take these cylinder heads off now, man, and get on back to business. Now, there is an order in putting these that GM recommends that you do. Now, on that, that's why I normally just break bolts loose first, because I don't necessarily always follow the order, especially when I'm taking them off, you know. But you want to kind of do it in a, let's see, when you got rock down bolts like that, you want to just go ahead and knock them out of there. So, and it's different when it's in the engine and when it's not. All I'm trying to do is break them loose in a diagonal order. And then once I know I got them all kind of loose, and I have to go through and break them all out there. All right, now so more part like I said, you can, again, you want to keep up with. I'm not gonna reuse these bolts. I may, because I'm hard head. But in reality, because this engine's not gonna be running that long, I'm only gonna do 5,000. I mean, it's only gonna do 5,000 miles oil change. Simple. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be in the car that long. It's gonna be enough to do 5,000 miles. Now I was gonna do, 3,000 is the normal amount oil change. You do your oil changes at 3,000 miles, but again, this is like a performance vehicle. So with this being a performance vehicle, we're gonna run at 5,000 hard runs, and then we're gonna take it out and do some more rebuilding to it. So more part of, yeah, you can see the different sizes in your bolts, right? So there will be two different sizes of bolts, right? So just make sure you keep up with which bolt you put where to go where. If you're gonna reuse the bolts, or when you order new bolts, match the links to make sure that it's fitting the same holes, and the two different ones go to the correct location. All right, now so for most part, we should just be able to rock this head a little loose, and then it should come out. Now, seeing if there's coolant in there, then you'll have coolant sticking out. Now, you may need a pry bar or something here too, depending on how long the engine has been sitting and things, or if it's been a while since the gasket has been put on there. sometimes you can just rock them off of there. If not, get your crowbar here, and then just try to find a good place to put it to be able to get a good pop and pull on it. I try not to damage them, the blocks or anything. Get it on the head, because you're gonna take the head off and replace them anyway. So I'm reuse this head. I didn't want to damage it, but no, I was able to come back here at the back here and actually get right up under it, and that way I got a good pop on it and better got it pulled up. All they did was crack it, but you can see how damage or even trying to get this out while it's in the vehicle may have been more than you want to deal with. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off to the side and take a look at over here on the bench. So again, you can see a lot of carbon buildup though on this engine. All right, so that's a lot of carbon buildup, but that's not a bad thing. The cylinder walls got a little ring to them. I'm gonna change some gloves and clean them up a little bit to be able to confirm. It's just an old gasket right here. I know we're not reusing this one. I don't care how cheap I try to get for this one. All right, so basically, then you just want to kind of clean up these areas around here. We're gonna clean the engine up. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna clean this up a little bit. I think it's gonna polish out pretty good though, because it looks like it's still got some nice chrome to it. I'm just more concerned about inspecting these cylinder walls here in a second to see how good those cylinder walls are. And then and now I'm gonna go ahead and pull the lifters out now. And there's lifter tray. I kind of wait to do that so I can see. It's easy to pull the lifters out too. Sometimes trying to reach around. Here you can just kind of take this tray out and get right to the lifters. Right. So when you got a roller cam, it'll have these 3 bolts right here, and I believe they're 14 millimeters. I know they're 13s. All right, so it's just a 13 millimeter right there. And then, well, I tell you. All right, so basically it's just a little spider tray. They call them spider trays. They got little springs here. You set it down in here, and it holds down these dog ears right here on top of the lifter galleys, right? So to hold down these dog ears, I believe they call them dog ears, on top of the lifter galley. And then by doing that, this lifter, I'm gonna let me get some, because I don't want to scratch these walls up. This engine has been sitting, these lifters, right? They go up and down, and this tray keep these lifters from just going out too far. All right, so give me a sec. Let me set this back, and I'm gonna go out here and put this down, and then we're gonna come take out the rest of the lifters here, and then I'm probably gonna go ahead and take the other side off, so we can start to assess on at least cleaning the engine up and determining the timing cover and the front side of it, about what we're gonna do with the camshaft. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over, and we're gonna do the bottom side. This is gonna be a part 1. I'm gonna go ahead and make this a part 1, part 2, part 3 type video. So I guess this will be part 1, and then I'm just gonna finish it after we get the other cylinder head off over there. So just give me a sec to put this down. Now remember, you want to keep up with all this type stuff. If you're not familiar with engines or you're new to this, then mark it, tag it, take pictures, do stuff that'll help you be able to remember how this stuff goes back and the orientation that it goes back into. And it's really not that big a difficult. And I always say the same thing. If you're dealing with if you're dealing with any type of engine, you're working on a vehicle, I always get the service manual, on the newer stuff. Now for the older stuff, you can kind of look 4 manuals and books and things that help you, but it doesn't hurt to get a book, a service manual, or something along the lines to help you kind of give you the knowledge you need for the stuff you don't know. All right, so I'm gonna leave the rest of these lifters in because we're gonna reuse these lifters. So I got a tray. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm using for the other engine right now though. So I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna figure out what we're gonna do with these lifters because I want to keep them lined up and clean them up before I take them out and have someone go ahead and clean them little boards out in there and get that lube down so it doesn't start to rust. All right, Mopar, we can come over to the other side here now. Let's just get the other side took off, and we're gonna do the same thing with this side that we did with the other side. All the rockers, I'm gonna keep them lined up. I get my other box area over here. Can't keep up with some of this. Get it cleaned up in a minute. All right. So again, I'm just gonna pop off the top of these rockers here. Keep up with the rockers, right? And then Mopar, that we're gonna use them because I believe the cylinder heads that are coming, they had their rockers on them, and I'm gonna use the same rockers for the same head. So these rockers will go back on this cylinder head if it's ever used. And the rockers that are coming in, if they're good and in good standing, I'm gonna put those on with that engine. That's how I need it. Oh. Just a second here. So I'm gonna pull these push rods out here now. Like, again, we're not gonna reuse these, so they're not that important. We're gonna keep them. We're not gonna reuse them. All right, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and bust all these bolts down again, just like I did the prior time before. Just how to do them, and I did diagonal and loosen them all up first, and I'm gonna go through and bust them all again. All right, so Mopar again. I said you're gonna take all these bolts out, and I say, nah, I have never reused cylinder head bolts, but I mean I don't know if they can. Most time they're torque to yield, so I don't believe it's recommended that you reuse cylinder head bolts. You know, but I always keep bolts just in case. You never know. Sometimes bolts break and strip, so you can keep a whole bag of bolts around. And sometimes you can find what you need when you least expect it. All right, so hopefully this one don't give any issues neither. No, we should be able to do the same thing on this one that we did on the last one. All right, just take your crowbar here, come around to the back of it, right where you can get a good little pop on it, good leverage, and just kind of pry it up. You heard it when you heard it break the seal like that, then you know just that gasket that's left on there. And the last one didn't have any coolant, so I doubt this one will out. And then there she go. So again, I'm gonna put this one over here I put this one down over here so we can keep up with them a little better. Do a little more investigation. And the same thing. And then look at here. This still may be on the cylinder head. So all right. So it has a gasket on here. It's just it was still stuck on the cylinder head. But Mopar though, you can see it was time for a rebuild on this. I believe it's right on time for it to be able to rebuild it before. I mean, I'm gonna check. Let me check the pistons. Once I check the pistons, that's gonna determine if I'm gonna take out. I'm already said I'm not buying any main steel bolts, so crank bolts, so main cap bolts. So I don't. You know, we're gonna see when we get down to that point. But first, I want to investigate the cylinder walls. First, investigate the cylinder walls to be able to determine how good the engine is. Clean up this carbon debris. Pull out these lifters, right? And then start cleaning the engine up a little bit. Now, before I pull the timing cover, that'll be part two. It'll be the timing cover and the camshaft. I'm gonna clean this up area a little bit because this has timing marks on it right here. Get you a better shot. So this normally has timing marks on it that kind of can tell you where the engine is lined up compared to the top dead center of the first piston right here in cylinder one. So I always like to clean it up first and then kind of turn it over a few times and try to get it the top dead center from what the manufacturer, what the engine currently is ranked at. And then I'll set some basic marks myself on all these pulleys and cranks, and just so I know when I line it back up together, it at least was in the same position that it came out of factory, you know. And then from there, that'll be part two. We'll just start taking down the camshaft in this area here, and I'm gonna figure out. I had a lifter cleanup part going. Mainly, you're just gonna take out these lifters here. Take out each one. You want to keep up with which bore, which one came out of, because I plan on reusing these. Like I said, I don't see the point. And purchasing new lifters for this engine, because again, we're not spending too much money on it. It's more about just having some fun with this engine, you know, because it's sitting here in the garage and you see it's getting rusted and wearing out. So I want at least, you know, put a few turns on it so it still has some type of potential to do something. I mean, it is a Chevy. Now, it's a 305, but it is a Chevy. So it will do what it needs to do if you put the components to it. All right, Mopar, man, that's where I'm going to end this video at. Just know when the other cylinder heads come in, we'll do a little comparison. But I wanted to show that basic breakdown of the 305 being broke down. The ceiling head's been taken off. Now I'm gonna do some more investigating of the springs and things. I don't know if I'll show video of all that. Like I said, I kind of want to show stuff, but at the same time, I want to put it together so it can get to running and we can have some fun with the vehicles. All right, so just give me a sec here. I'm gonna put together a little video for you guys, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna start with the camshaft and the timing cover more likely. Until then, man, y'all have a good one. Again, thank y'all for coming to Project Muscle Cars. Please like, share, and subscribe. It is appreciated. Thank you.